What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Awesome Show. Today we're looking at this Marvel Legends Retro Spider-Man little thrown together wave here of some extra retro figures they've thrown out here. So we have more Marvel Legends on those retro card backs, so very reminiscent of the Toy Biz figures. But in this we have all Spider-Man characters. So we have Spider-Man 2099, WebMan, Sandman, and then we're also going to throw in here the Hasbro PulseCon 2021 exclusive Venom figure. So just the Venom that has like the red and blue on it. So we have the box here, this awesome box with the design there, a nice Venom painted on there. But we already took it out of the box, of course, so we have the Venom there on the retro card back as well. So the bigger Venom body there that looks cool again on the retro card back with the blue and the red details, so that looks cool as well. So we have that thrown in here as a fourth figure. So it's awesome to have another retro Spider-Man wave here. Of course, we have the whole wave that should be coming out sometime soon. I know some people have already started to get them, but again, these are just some like one-offs they've released. So I love checking out these retro Spider-Man characters, so I'm excited to open them. So let me get them open and we'll take a look at them together. So let's start off with the Spider-Man 2099, of course, real name Miguel O'Hara, and he worked as a geneticist for Alchemax, which was a powerful corporation that controlled the US in 2099, and he was pressured to testing and imprinting genetic codes onto human physiology, and after a failed test that turned a patient into a creature, he went to hand in his resignation, but his boss ended up giving him a drink that was laced with a rapture drug, which was a highly addictive hallucinogen, and in an attempt to try and heal himself from the addiction, Miguel tried a genetic procedure on himself, but it was sabotaged by his supervisor, and so his DNA was spliced with the genes of a spider. And so because of that, he got superhuman strength, speed, agility, and reflexes. He gained a healing power, telepathy, enhanced vision, fangs that secrete paralyzing venom from his mouth, retractable talons in his fingertips, and little spinnerets that would release webbing, so he has an organic web. So that all sounds pretty cool for Spider-Man 2099, but overall this figure looks cool, but I just do still have some issues with it. Like, just something about this figure, he's too like thin and spindly, so he has some issues like standing up. I feel he'll get damaged a lot, and especially when we compare it to the older version that has been messed up from being in storage, it's pretty disappointing, and I can easily see this turning out the exact same way. But overall he does look cool. So he has this like dark metallic blue outfit, so it looks pretty cool, and in real life it's got like a gray sort of tint to it. It's like a dark gray, but it's supposed to be, you know, a blue, and then has the red over the top, so he has the red around the eyes, the red on his chest, and I like how it's got a skull design, so it reminds me of like Punisher into a Spider-Man, but it's got the spider design with the skull as well, and the details going down his arms in the red there, so you can see like the spikes and stuff on his hands, the little arrow points there, pretty cool, and pretty much blue all the way down, and around on his back he does have a little like cape piece as well with like spider web, so that's pretty fun. But overall, like I said, the body doesn't look bad, it's just I can feel him easily having issues, and I'm having a little bit of issues getting him to stand. So for movements, his head can twist all the way around there, he can look down that far and up that far, so pretty good movements there. Shoulders can come up about 90 degrees there, has the butterfly joint, and can rotate all the way around. We get a bicep twist, a double elbow joint that bends up that far. Wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. He's got the ab crunch in the middle there, so he can crunch forward and crunch back a little bit. It's pretty hard to crunch, and he doesn't like crunch overall very well. Spin around at the waist. Hips up 90 degrees out to the side that far. Thigh twist, which was really stiff when we got this, and kind of ended up breaking some of the joint there in the middle, so it's still together and stuff, but already kind of like broke this. But the thigh twist there, we got the double knee joint that bends up that far to the back, so it can pretty much kick his own butt. And then the foot can flex back and forth, and it's really stiff on his feet, so it's weird that he has issues standing when his feet are so stiff, and they can twist side to side. So he's not bad overall, just little issues and like stiff joints and everything. Like I said, we've already like sort of like broke the legs, and then he has some issues standing up. But what I was mentioning about him having even more issues, if say we bring in our older version here that of course has been in storage, and if you see his leg is all bent up, so that's why I'm saying he's like so thin and stuff, especially in the legs, that his legs are going to easily get messed up. So it's hard to get this older one to stand up because his one leg is bowed out and bent at the knee, unfortunately. But I think the old one I do like a little bit more. I like it's got more of a blue color. Of course, you probably can't see it too much with the camera, but in real life this one is much more blue, where like I said, this new one has more of a gray color. But I do like the design in the red on the newer one compared to this older one. And for accessories, he doesn't really come with much, so we get 2 fist hands and 2 wall crawling hands, so that's really all we get with him. Of course, he does have the webbing cape on his back, but that's kind of already on him, so no really other accessories besides those. And next up, we've got WebMan, which is an interesting looking version of Spider-Man, but he was created when Spider-Man entered a room with a mirror and he began to look at himself in the reflection, but this mirror was a one-way mirror and Dr. Doom was standing on the other side, so he turned on his twin machine to copy Spider-Man, but it turned out a Spider-Man with the opposite traits, so that's why I see his color sort of inversed here. But the biggest difference is that since Spider-Man is a super genius, WebMan turned out to be really stupid, so he was easily defeated by Spider-Man, so he didn't turn out to be a very good Spider-Man. But overall it looks cool. Like I said, I really like the colors, so I like the red on where the blue was and the blue now where the red is, and I like this blue color. It's a really light blue, of course matches sort of in with the background and stuff, but I just like that color design. Of course I have the spider on. Still overall pretty much similar design to all the other Spider-Mans, just in the opposite colors, and his face looks a little bit fat, just like with the sides here. It looks like he's got a really fat face, so maybe that's part of like making him stupid or whatever. He's got a fatter face or something, I don't know, but I just overall like the colors of this a lot. So for movements, head can twist all the way around. He look down that far and up that far, so pretty good. Shoulders can come up about 90 degrees or maybe a little bit under. It's like something's stopping him from coming up all the way to 90, but has the butterfly joint and can rotate all the way around. We get a bicep twist, a double elbow joint that bends up that far, wrist twist around and flex back and forth. Got an ab crunch, so you can crunch forward and crunch back, so much better than 2099. Twist all the way around at the waist. Hips up 90 degrees out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around. Double knee joint that bends up that far to the back. Shin twist at the separation of the collars. And the foot flexes back and forth and twists side to side. So not a bad Spider-Man overall, just some limitations there, and the rising of the shoulders is the only issue. And of course we can bring in a different Spider-Man here just to compare so you can see the color inverses there. Of course it would be better if the colors to me matched exactly, but I do like the different colors they use because I do like these colors a bit more. But very cool there, you can just see the opposites of them, and that WebMan is a little bit bigger. Of course this isn't an exact version of the same Spider-Man because we couldn't really find one that matched too much, but very cool overall, especially if you have them here side by side. And for accessories, he once again comes with just some additional hands, so we get wall crawling hands and we get a set of whip hands, so the web shooting hands, so pretty cool overall there for WebMan. And next up we got Sandman, which I really like this. Of course I love the Spider-Man villains more than anything, so it's awesome to get him, and he's in a much smaller, like normal human size form compared to like the Build-A-Figure and stuff that I'll show you where he was much bigger, so it's awesome to get him in this form. But it's still cool we get the same sort of design, so he still has the striped shirt with the dark and normal color green stripes, so I like that. His hair design, of course that classic from the comics, like the little line designs there, brown pants and black boots, so he just looks like your normal human, but it's always signified by that striped shirt there. But his real name is William Baker, later changed it to Flint Marko, and he was on the run from authorities after escaping prison, and he came into contact with some radiation and his body began to interact with the sand that was under his feet, so he turned into a Sandman, which is an amorphous blob of animated sand that can mold into a completely human form, so sort of as we see him here. And with this he has superhuman strength, shape-shifting abilities, density control, sand clones, reformation, and shoot sandblast. So he's not the best villain ever, but I think it's very unique with the sand powers. But for this figure, like I said, I like his look and design, and I like that we got like a more normal human size version. But for movements, his head can twist all the way around. He looked down that far and up that far, a little stiff, but some good movements in there. His joints are a little stiff, but his shoulders can come up about 90 degrees there, a little bit under, but of course kind of come into contact there, so as much as it can there. Rotate all the way around. We get the bicep twist, a double elbow joint that bends up that far, so actually not too bad. Wrist twist around and flex back and forth. We got the ab crunch, so you can crunch forward just a little bit and back even more, so not much crunching there, but you can twist all the way around at the waist. Hips can come up 90 degrees out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around. A double knee joint bends up that far to the back, and the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side, and of course have some limitations there because of the pant legs. So overall not a bad figure, not too many issues or anything with him, but just so you can see that comparison, here is that old Build-A-Figure Sandman, so you can't see the height difference there between the two, so you can see how big that Build-A-Figure is, which of course if he was more in a sand form it would make more sense for him to be that big, but he's, you know, just in human form he should be this tall. But it's awesome with all the pieces there for like the sand hands and stuff for him. But what's really cool about this figure is we get a lot of sand accessories for him as well. So first off, we get an additional head, so we have a head where he's been like shot or punched or something, so part of his head there has a hole in it now, so that's cool. So let's switch this out. So there's his head switch out, and that looks pretty cool. And then we get some hand accessories, so we get a sand fist hand and we get a sand like ball mace hand here, and then we also get these pieces to switch out and put on the arms and stuff, so you can have it look a little bit more form and stuff. So let's go and switch these out. So there's Sandman with the sand hands on him. So as I showed, these were like separate pieces. Now you don't have to worry too much because they do have labels on them, so they have an L and an R and stuff, so you know which one goes where. And there's a design, so it slides up with like the sleeve design and everything. So those fit on there pretty nice as well. And then of course we have the left hand there, so you know that goes on the left and the ball just goes on the right. And having that hole in the head there is pretty cool as well. So it can be, like I said, that he's like been shot or something, or you could almost have, and I have seen people have pictures where like a Spider-Man's punching and they'll have his hand going through there, so that's pretty cool as well. But overall, I just think this Sandman looks cool. Like I said, it's awesome to get him in like a normal human size form, but then also get the accessories of like the sand hands and stuff in the head, so that is awesome, and I love this Sandman. And finally, we have the Hasbro PulseCon 2021 exclusive Venom that looks awesome with the red and blue highlights on him. He looks cool here. So, of course, real name Eddie Brock, and who is a journalist whose career was ruined by Spider-Man. And so he went to a church to commit suicide, but was bonded with the symbiote that Spider-Man had discarded. And that turned their hatred of Spider-Man into a fixation on killing him. So when Brock was bonded with the symbiote, he gained superhuman strength and durability, a healing factor, matter manipulation, telepathy, and pretty much had all the same Spider-Man powers from coming from him. So he looked really cool here in the all black suit. Of course, has the big white spider on his chest, you know, coming from Spider-Man, took that Spider-Man logo on there. And it's just pretty much like your standard Venom, but he, like I said, has the highlights on him of the red and blue, you know, those highlights and stuff from like the classic comic looks, especially the 90s cartoon TV show and stuff. But it's awesome with the Venom head, so the big white eyes and the mouth there with all the teeth and stuff, and the tongue hanging out. I like the forked tongue there. That looks really cool. So I really like that look. And then, like I said, he's pretty much just a big character, just all in black. He's got the claw hands there, so you can see the claws and stuff. That looks pretty cool. Some veins and some of the venom and stuff going through on his arms and everything. Just looks really cool, and I just like the details, especially with the blue and the red they're painted on. I think it looks really cool. So for Moon's head can twist around, and unfortunately this head pops off really easily on our figure for some reason, so something's wrong with that. But twist around's easy, and you can look down that far and up about that far, but again, the head's starting to pop off, so yeah, something's wrong. That's not holding the head on there too well. The shoulders can come up about 90 degrees there, have the butterfly joint, and rotate all the way around. We have the bicep twist, a double elbow joint that bends up that far, wrist twist around, and flex back and forth. Ab crunch in the middle there, so crunch forward, crunch back. Really good crunching on this figure. Twist all the way around at the waist. Hips come up 90 degrees there, out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around, a little stiff in there. Double knee joint that bends up that far to the back. And the foot flexes back and forth and twists side to side. So overall, not a bad figure, just that head movements is the only thing that has issues, but everything else moves really good and pretty far as well. Now for comparison, here's just a Venom I found. So you can see this new one is much bigger, but it does have the holes, so that's from a more recent Venom that I did not find, I believe. So you can have tendrils and stuff hanging on them, but this is just the Venom I found more recently, so it had the tongue sticking out and everything, and is much smaller, but both are very cool, but I think this new one is just incredible. And for accessories, we get an additional head. So we have a head with the tongue not sticking out, but you can still see the tongue in there. It's kind of like wrapped around a little bit with the forks on that side, but overall the rest of it does look pretty much similar. And we also get a set of fist hands, so of course with the red and the blue there on them, but of course for Venom the claws are probably the best. But like I said, this is just a really cool Venom. I wish he came with more accessories, maybe with some like tendril type stuff, but just overall this Venom looks really cool and probably my favorite Venom so far. Well, that's going to be it for a small wave of this Marvel Legends Retro Spider-Man figures, where we got the new Spider-Man 2099, WebMan, a Sandman that is really cool, like I said, probably my favorite Sandman ever, and then the Hasbro PulseCon exclusive Venom in there thrown in that I think is really cool as well. So all these figures are pretty decent. Like I said, the issues with some of the 2099, I wish he was a little bit better. I was really excited for him more than any of the others, but he turned out to be my least favorite out of all these, and I think Sandman is just the coolest. But let me know what you thought of these figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with a thumbs up. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.